It is that time of the morning where we say good morning to one and all. It is Garden America. We've got smiles on our faces because so many great comments, so many nice comments leading up to the start of the show this morning. It is 6 minutes after the hour, Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. So those on Biz Talk Radio, this show is last week's show. When I say good comments, I'm talking about the people watching us live on Facebook. So thank you for setting our mood in a very positive way this morning with smiles on our faces. We do appreciate that. John had a lot of butterflies before the show this morning, just prior to going on the air live. But I think, John, you're okay now, right? The nervousness has gone away.
You open the door, let him out.
Yes, exactly. but you never see them sweat. Never let him see you sweat, I should say. And with John, it's never let him see you be nervous. Never let him see you be nervous. That didn't make sense, did it?
Sure.
You know,
you get it.
I usually have to go 4 or 5 minutes into the show before I have any idea what you're talking about.
I know, because you know why I do that? So people go, what? And they have to listen closer. What did he say? It didn't sound right. So then they listen closer to what you say. Then I set you up, and then what you say, they hear. Wow, did I backpedal out of that one?
Whoa.
Hey, the weather. You said we could talk about the weather.
Yeah, because a couple of people have commented already about the thunderstorms that rolled through San Diego yesterday.
Well, Tuesday and Wednesday in Fallbrook, 102-degree temperatures with strong winds blowing things everywhere. And then yesterday, we had rain. Now, I don't think as much rain as Tiger said it flooded in areas where he was, right?
So much at one time
yeah,
that it just didn't even absorb right away. It was amazing.
Yeah, there was a lot of microclimates yesterday in San Diego in terms of how much rain fell.
But it felt good. You know, I even took a half an hour and sat on the back porch with my sipper cup. And
a cigar. You're a big cigar smoker.
No, and read a book.
You read a book?
By the way, a cigar probably would not go with a sipper cup. That's what I call I have a cup that I save and wash out from the sandwich place, Subway.
The same cup?
Yeah. Because first of all, their straws aren't too big. The diameter is smaller.
Oh boy, here we go. We're going to dissect the Subway straw.
Well, have you ever had a McDonald's straw? Like, you get too much liquid at one time.
I don't know the last time I even used a straw, to be honest.
Oh wow,
really?
I'm not against straws.
It's because you don't have a sipper cup.
I don't.
I think I've got extras.
You need a sippy cup, like for the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. I'm with you now.
I call them sipper cups.
You thought I started the show off rough.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Things are getting weird.
Well, anyway, I sat on the back patio, looked at the rain, and read a book for half an hour. It was very relaxing.
Well, good job. Good job.
Good job, John.
All right.
And okay,
by the way, the best comment that I've seen so far today is from Dana, and she says, "John, you're not alone. I never understand what Brian says sometimes."
What can I say?
Uh-oh.
What can I say? I didn't spend enough time in the green room this morning preparing.
Lenore says she's getting smoke from the northern fires.
Ooh.
She's in canyon country.
Wow.
I didn't think it would come down that far.
It's amazing.
So we've got all kinds of weird things happening with the weather, the rain. Now, that rain was unexpected. I didn't, unless I didn't follow the forecast.
Yeah, I was going to say, not as far as the Weather Channel goes. It was right on time.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I did get, Alexa gave us a weather alert, flash flood warning for our area, Scripps Ranch in particular.
Yeah.
It never happened, but it did rain. But Mission Valley flooded.
Yeah. The flash flood warning is interesting too, because the reason why it's a flash flood is water that's been kind of driven into one area and fills up, and then it creates that flash flood. So you see these washouts in places in the desert like Arizona and Palm Springs, and you're like, what? That's never enough. You're in the middle of the desert. You're like thinking, how could there ever be a river of water here? But those canyons will collect, that rainfall when it's dumping all at once. It's intense to see that actually happen.
Yeah, it is. Somebody wants to see my shirt. Okay, Sue.
The Beach Boys. Fun.
On there right yet, but
there we go. There we go. Boom.
Here we go. Beach Boys, fun.
Someone else says, Brian, please take off your shirt.
I will. Don't tempt me. I will. Oh, that's a good shot, Tiger. Nice. Way to go.
Yeah.
John, somebody wants to see your belt.
I'm not wearing a belt.
Well, sorry. Maybe next week.
Hey, you were just talking about the flash floods and things. I was thinking the first time I came to California in the winter, in Upland, California. It's raining, and the water coming down from Mount Baldy
Ooh.
down. What's the main street through there? Anyway, it was just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this.
Like you don't even step into
It was
the
like
shallow water. because it's
rapids,
going.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'd never experienced that before.
Yeah.
Michigan, everything's flat.
So it just falls and just sits
Yeah, just falls
until it
and sits
absorbs.
there.
Yeah.
Well, Mission Valley, I remember way back when, and I know people who don't live here are like, I have no
Way
idea what you're
back
talking about.
Way.
But it's a valley, and
Right.
it floods. And years ago, back in the 40s, they were trying to sell real estate down there.
Yeah.
People said, no one's going to buy real estate. It floods here. Well,
Exactly.
They bought real estate. Now it's so expensive, nobody can afford it. And it does flood, but I guess they're dealing with it.
And look at Washington, D.C., right? Who would have bought in a swamp?
Exactly.
And then, boom.
So,
Well, that's what Miami Beach was, right? Wasn't that a swamp?
was it?
I know they built up a lot of land.
They built it
in
up.
Florida. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they just added. It's kind
Well,
of
somebody
like Dubai.
from Florida who's watching right now, listening, let us know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Carla says in Huntington Beach she's getting smoke also from the fires.
From really?
Yeah.
Dang. Man.
Sue is happy you showed her your shirt because she says that she went to their concert
Petco Park.
and she had fun.
Yeah. I saw them for their 50th anniversary. And doing all
Really?
right. Yeah. And that was, 8 years ago?
I think I told you that my son
50th
Joe's
anniversary.
best friend, his dad was the manager for the Beach Boys.
Whose dad was?
My son Joe, his best friend growing up,
Oh, okay.
was the manager for the Beach Boys.
Yeah, they did all right.
Yeah.
They did all right. I guess we could talk gardening today.
Give
Yeah.
it a shot, right?
I know we stuck to the monologue with talking about
Who's
the,
our guest
the
gonna
weather,
be
the floods,
today?
and the Beach Boys and music. And
So
we have a guest today, Tiger.
we do, and we're gonna have Marissa Rodriguez joining us from the National Japanese Friendship Garden Association.
That whole
and-
Balboa Park thing?
Well, no, but it's on a national level too, not
Yeah.
just it's the friendship gardens that they have throughout the country. And
I think it's the North American Japanese Garden
North American.
Association,
Thank you.
right?
Thank you. And so we're gonna have her join us, just talk about like the botanical gardens and what they're all opening back up again. They haven't had people for a long time, and that way people can get involved again. So
Sure. And
lots
of course,
fun stuff.
if you're on Facebook Live, questions, comments, everything is the same. I know Rick checked in from Idaho, what's happening a little while ago. So we have our regulars. We have those that are probably listening for the first time and watching for the first time.
A
So we
few
do appreciate
irregulars
that.
are joining us.
We have a few irregulars?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have 6. 6 irregulars. So,
The quote of the week.
exactly, you read my mind. Today's,
From-
which is a little long quote, but that's okay.
Well, I usually try to make, not always, but sometimes try to make the quote pertain to the subject matter.
Of course.
And this is from Robert Fortune, the plant hunter. And a lot of plants are named Fortuniana
Yep.
Because of him.
because of him, right?
A derivative, right, John?
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
I guess, if you say. He said, is the lower parts of the Japanese houses, he's obviously in Japan, right?
Sure.
And shops are open both before and behind. I had peeps of these pretty little gardens as I passed along the streets, and wherever I observed one better than the rest, I did not fail to pay it a visit.
I understood that.
So back in it would have been the turn of the century, right? Visiting Japan, I was one of the first people to go there, right?
The old
Because
turn of the
Japan was
century.
closed for years.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. You're talking about from the 1800s to the
Right.
1900s.
Yes, not the 19th to the 2000s.
Exactly. Let's see. Good morning from San Jose. Smoke free in San Jose. Thank you, Tanya.
Wow.
You never know who we're going to reach in this show, John. We're like a spider web. Getting our
Just out
tentacles,
there.
or an octopus, getting our tentacles in everything.
My son is moving to Indianapolis Friday.
Oh, here we go. It's happening.
So I'm thinking of taking over his raised beds and planting a fall crop. And I'm wondering if I should plant some Romanesco, give it a try.
Why not? You know
Why
why?
not?
Because you've got the area which you didn't have before.
Yeah.
That could be your outdoor lab. If that doesn't work, try something else.
Well, I think I'm going to use it for, since it's raised and waist high, I'm not going to use it for tall plants.
Yeah,
I
that'd be.
think I'm going to use it for lettuces and.
Don't plant corn. That wouldn't be a good idea.
Well, it's too late for corn anyway.
Too
but-
tall, too.
But I would put corn. I would plant corn on. I think next summer.
Yeah.
Next spring. But in the ground, of course.
We've got to take a break, John. I'm sorry. When we come back, John's going to finish his thought.
Yeah.
We're going to bring our guest on, Marissa.
Right.
And that's all happening next year on Garden America. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for listening. Facebook Live, thank you for being there. I'm Brian Main. We've got John Begnasker, Tiger Palafox. By the way, happy anniversary to your mom and dad.
To my mom and dad in Paris.
In Paris. Thank you for watching. We're Garden America here on your weekend. Welcome to Garden America. If you're just joining us, thank you so much. We do appreciate you joining in on the ride this morning. Those on Biz Talk Radio, again, this is last week's show, but again, you can always hear us and watch us live by going to our Facebook page, Garden America Radio. We also have a YouTube page by the same name, Garden America Radio. All the shows are right there. You can fast forward, you can rewind, you can pause. We'll talk about that a little bit later on.
I didn't know you could fast forward. You can do that.
Oh, you can do so many things on
Can
that.
you back up?
You can
rewind?
back up. You can pause.
You back
If
up.
somebody sees a good shot of you, they can pause it right there and just enjoy.
I think I'm going to look for that.
Now, we did have to go to a break, and you were in the midst of finishing up a conversation, John, or
About what?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I just wanted to be courteous.
I think I was just finishing talking about maybe planting Romanesco.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And John from the San Diego Botanical Garden says it grows really well. So
Yeah.
And that's good enough for us.
maybe I'll give it a try.
Okay, that in mind, Tiger, let's bring on our guest and learn a lot about a lot of things.
All right. So this weekend we have a guest from the North American Japanese Gardens Association, Marissa Rodriguez, is joining us. She's the manager of the NAJGA. That is a heck of a name there, Marissa.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
That's for sure. Actually, I'm excited to share that I also have another guest on the line, Jeanette Celine, who's our vice president and also one of our founding members.
All right. Jeanette, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Well, ladies, first off, let's go ahead and explain to our listeners what is the North American Japanese Garden Association.
Absolutely. Get us started, and then maybe Jeanette can talk a little bit more about the history. But we call it by its acronym NAJGA. So again, the North American Japanese Garden Association, and we were founded about 10 years ago in 2011. But we're an organization, a nonprofit organization that's really dedicated to sustaining gardens and focused on connecting and supporting the Japanese garden community throughout North America and even beyond that. And Jeanette, maybe if you want to jump in with a little bit about our history and how we were founded.
Sure. I'd be happy to. I think NAJGA grew out of a conference that was held at California State University, Long Beach in 2009. And myself and Kendall Brown, who is a researcher on Japanese gardens outside of Japan, and a professor at Cal State Long Beach, the two of us knew that there was a growing need to provide a way for people who were part of the Japanese garden field to get together and to create a network. And so we co-sponsored this conference. And it was wildly successful, way beyond our expectations, and drew not only people from Canada and the United States, but from Japan and quite a few countries around the world. And at the end of that conference, we became convinced that there needed to be some kind of organization that would facilitate and perpetuate this network.
Okay.
And so that's how NAJCA got started. We were supported by a grant from the Japan Foundation for 3 years while we incubated NAJCA. And since then, our community has grown to about 300 members, and we work with many of the 200 gardens in Canada and the United States. And we also have relationships with Japanese garden associations in Japan, the United Kingdom.
Wow, it seems like a great way to connect everyone. That was going to be my question, was how many of these gardens were in North America? But you're saying there's 200 of them between Canada and the United States. Do you think, is there almost one in each state at least, or is there other states that maybe don't have a garden, but then like maybe California has 5 or something?
Well, California is really fortunate. Just Southern California, I think, has 13 Japanese gardens. Now, some of them are small.
Mm-hmm.
I was the director of a 1.3-acre Japanese garden at Cal State Long Beach. So not a big garden, but we had a visitorship of about 70,000 people a year. So a well-used garden. And then, of course, we have the beautiful Japanese garden, a historical garden at the Huntington Library and Gardens, and the large and growing Japanese garden at Balboa Park in San Diego. But there's quite a few Japanese gardens, like up in the Santa Barbara area at Lotus Land is a really beautiful Japanese garden. And then there are, smaller gardens like the Story Stearns Garden in Pasadena and the Brand Garden up in the valley. The Tillman, the Japanese garden at the Tillman Water Reclamation Center up in the San Fernando Valley. So when you count them all up, Southern California itself has the highest number of Japanese gardens any place in the world outside of Japan. So we really are fortunate. People in Southern California are lucky because there's so many beautiful gardens. Now, your question about is there one in every state, there's not a large public garden perhaps in every state, but NAJCA created 5 regions because, as a person who knows gardening, that gardening in one gardening zone is very different from gardening in another zone. And so NAJCA, one of our operating principles is regionality and a respect for the gardening zones, the local conditions, the plants that thrive in local conditions, and also the perspectives of people who are working in those gardens, who visit those gardens, who volunteer there. So really a local approach and a respect for the environment in each area is really a hallmark characteristic of NAJCA.
And so you guys being so involved with so many of these gardens all over the North America area, I'm sure you've seen some changes over the past year, whether it was, closure for attendance or, ways, operating changes and things like that. We're going to have to take a commercial break here in a minute, no? Yeah. But, I wanted to kind of ask you, what is it that you guys feel people can do now to support your organizations across the different, regions and things like that for people that maybe might not be aware of it? So maybe take like about 30 seconds, but we're going to have to take a break. I just wanted to warn you.
Nicely done, Tiger. Yeah, go ahead. We got about 30 seconds.
Okay, well, so maybe I can do a quick plug, actually, as we're talking about the gardens throughout North America. on our website, we actually have a garden finder map where you can see lots of the gardens. And we find that, we learn about new gardens periodically and add them to the map. So this isn't, a complete list by any means. But for folks that are looking for a Japanese garden near them, or just want to see, the number of gardens that we have and where they are, the Garden Finder map on our website is a really great way. And maybe when we come back from the break, I can tell you a little bit more about kind of what we've seen happen at the public gardens in terms of admission and interest in visiting them.
Man, that perfect. She almost took us to the break. Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you, Marissa. Okay, yeah, that said, we're going to
link to that in the newsletter.
get a link in the newsletter?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a quick break, come back. Those on BizTalk Radio, Facebook Live, as we continue to talk about Japanese gardens with Jeanette and Marissa this morning here on Garden America. Stay with us. Okay, we are back having a good time this morning on Garden America. Brian Main, that is me. He's Tiger. That's John over there, as you well know here. Thank you for tuning in on BizTalk Radio and Facebook Live as we continue to talk about Japanese gardens in various areas of the country, Tiger. And, of course, as they mentioned, here in Southern California, we seem to have a plethora of Japanese gardens.
Yeah, I'm shocked, but that is so awesome. I can't wait to visit more of them. And we have Marissa and Jeanette joining us from the North American Japanese Garden Association. And I had hinted before the break, and you did a great job of explaining how people can find the different gardens, and I did post that link into the Facebook chat, and John included it into the newsletter. But what are things that, maybe the general public, people need to know now about gardens to maybe get back involved, maybe start going to them again? What changes can people expect to see? What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, and as you know, Japanese gardens, like most gardens, around the country, around North America, were closed for some period of time during the pandemic. And that was, really challenging, with all industries, because it's such an important service for these gardens, for their operations and remain, continue to exist, basically. We saw, lots of gardens start to open up, maybe around the summer of 2020, with some, taking a little bit longer depending on local, conditions. But by and large, I would say almost all the gardens that we know of in our network are now open. And so definitely it's a great opportunity to support them by visiting them and learning more about Japanese gardens. And as Jeanette was saying, gardens here in Southern California are going to be very different from gardens in Seattle, Washington, or in Rockford, Illinois, which is one of our member gardens. And in fact, in November, we're actually going to be hosting a conference here at the Japanese Friendship Garden of San Diego. It's our biennial conference, so we do it every other year. And typically it's, a very large international Japanese garden conference. This year it's going to be a little bit smaller given the lack of international travel and just, the whole COVID situation. But for those that are local to Southern California or are really, motivated to learn more about Japanese gardens, it's a great way to learn a lot about Japanese gardens. And for those that are interested in learning more, our conference website is najga.org/SD2021. And it's, NAJGA, the initials of our acronym, North American Japanese Garden Association .org/SD2021. And people can also email me at info@najga.org or call us. And the phone number is 503-222-1194. But it's basically a 5-day conference. And the first 3 days are infused with lectures, workshops, tours. And then the last 2 days we'll actually be visiting gardens in Southern California. So we'll focus on LA on Saturday, November 6th, on San Diego on Sunday, November 7th. But in terms of, again, supporting the gardens kind of close to wherever you are, definitely visiting, your local garden is one of the best ways that you can support them.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of good info and, wonderful group connecting other wonderful gardens across North America. Lots of fun stuff. Marissa, Jeanette, I want to thank you both for joining us this weekend. Lots of good information. And like I said, we did post those links to the different websites that you listed and mentioned. So if you listening out there want more information, you can replay the Facebook, check the chat, and click straight from there. Marissa, Jeanette, thank you again for joining us. Hope you have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You bet. Thank you so much. Okay, so
Have you been to the one in Balboa Park recently?
I was just going to say that is the only one I'm familiar with. I have and didn't know that they had so many around the country and that many here in Southern California.
But have you been recently?
No,
like
I have
within
not.
the past
3
years?
It's been 5 years.
Oh,
Have you been this week?
yeah.
I was there yesterday. No, I have not. And so you're going to tell me how things have changed, right?
It's amazing. It just keeps growing. It's into this canyon, and you can just see them clearing like little bits of this canyon more and more to add more and more, and then they take you to different areas. It's
So what is the
spectacular.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Asakawa family donate the cherry trees to the garden?
I'm not
I know
sure.
that they had something to do with it
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
I wonder what the motivation was from the very beginning to do this. Just something different
as a garden,
as
the
a garden,
Japanese friendship garden?
exactly, and the tie into Balboa Park. It would be interesting to know the history behind that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well, there's a big Japanese population in Southern California.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the style of gardening, Japanese gardening, is a specific style that
Yes.
intrigues a lot of people.
Right.
And then the point of the garden is a friendship garden between the United States and Japan. Just all works together.
yeah.
We had some technical difficulties, so we didn't ask Rick's question
Oh, yeah.
from Idaho, but he wanted to know what the actual gardening zones were in Japan and what kind of challenges do they have over there compared to here in the United States.
Well, they had more earthquakes over there. That's the first challenge.
It shakes things up,
A
right?
little bit, yeah.
They also have people who are trained in this style of gardening.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
it's they've got that going for them. In a lot of Japanese gardens, the placement of stone is just as important as the placement of plants.
Yeah.
And I think we had someone on the show a couple years ago that wrote a book on placing stones. Do you remember that?
I don't remember. No.
And how important that was. But anyway, as far as the climate zones, much of Japan is in a zone very similar to Idaho, where Rick is.
Well, it is.
But-
It's north. Yeah, exactly.
Right, but they don't have most of Japan does not have the really hot temperatures that they
Right.
do in the Boise area.
Yeah, but yeah, the northern area, I think, like you're
Right.
saying, like even parts of Canada are probably very similar to how Japan's climate is, where it doesn't get that
Yeah.
hot in the summertime, but and when you go into a Japanese garden, like John mentioned, it's very distinct style, and as John said, there's people who are trained in this, and it definitely gives you a feeling, okay, meaning. There's the whole calmness, and you're supposed to feel a certain way because of the whole feng shui.
Feng shui,
kind of,
exactly. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it definitely does. You go into a forest, and you just feel amazed by the massive trees around you. And, if you go into a English cottage garden, that brings up my anxiety because there's no rhyme or reason, and things are just growing in weird places. So, like different feelings for different people. Japanese garden is definitely, you just feel a calmness. a
Should
zen.
we?
Hey, Linda from
Yeah, go ahead,
Reading
John.
says that she's going to be visiting San Diego for the first time next
Ooh.
week. And Tiger, she wants to know what are some must-see gardens while she's here.
Well,
Okay.
the Japanese garden.
Yeah, the Japanese garden is spectacular.
John's
And,
house.
Well, Balboa Park, period.
as
right?
a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then the San Diego Botanic Garden in
Yep.
Encinitas definitely hit
Is that the one with the bamboo that you and I
yeah. We're,
sat under?
Don't tell anybody
We had a
what we
moment.
did there.
We had a moment.
It was so quiet, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice. It was
Yeah,
very
it's
nice.
just what Tiger's talking
Yeah.
about, the ambience of being in a bamboo forest.
Would it be possible to do a remote from the Japanese garden here?
Yeah.
We could talk to somebody
Yeah,
and
exactly.
set that up
We can do remotes from anywhere,
on
Brian.
and we could do that on Facebook Live, and the people could see what we're talking about, and we could take the camera around and show them various things.
Yeah,
Kind
exactly.
of bring it to life.
That'd be cool.
Let's think about that.
All right.
The other thing, if she has a chance, she should visit the oldest garden center in San Diego County.
Is Tiger's family's nursery,
Right, Mission Hills Nursery.
Mission Hills Nursery, 1910,
Right.
And then maybe even John's
backyard.
Botanical Rose
That was good.
Sanctuary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As soon as it opens,
Yeah.
she's more than welcome.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 years.
You know, and I'm trying to think of some other places maybe to visit if you're in San Diego and you're interested in plants.
Well, you know what? Here's one. Go to the San Diego Zoo.
Yeah, that is, for
Be-
sure.
Because of the landscaping, or the Wild
It's
Animal Park
spectacular.
is another one. Actually, the Wild Animal
Eh,
Park.
I like the zoo
You like
better
the zoo
for a
better?
garden.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the zoo better for a garden look at it, for sure.
Yeah. There's plenty to do here.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Jimmy, our friend Jimmy from Oceanside, said it was nice to finally meet you in person the
Yeah.
other day.
Yeah, I was going to mention that Jimmy said hi to both of you. He came into the nursery and said hi. So, Brian, he has a tip for you, though, and you can't do it, but this is what he wants you to do because he listens to the show and doesn't always know the date that it is.
Uh-huh.
He wants you to, when you're doing breaks, to put
Today's
the-
date?
to put the date. But then,
Oh, I could do that.
Yeah, but then our shows air all different dates.
But I could say this show was originally recorded,
There you
or
go.
the original broadcast
That would help out Jimmy a lot.
was. And what does the calendar say behind me? What day is this?
The 25th?
This is the 25th.
But wouldn't it be better to say the date than the time?
Okay,
Now that I think
we're
about
gonna
it,
take a break and we'll discuss
'Cause
this.
no one really cares about the time.
True.
This is Garden America. We go in all kinds of directions here. We're going to take a quick break, be back after this. I've got to stay on time for our good friends at Biz Talk Radio. Welcome back to the show. Hope you had a good time during the break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, you get to hear our great sponsors, those who support our show. And for the rest of us here on Facebook Live, thank you so much for being part of the show, asking your questions, your comments each and every week. Yes, this is the 25th of September in the year 2021.
Just speaking of our sponsors, I want to mention, the use of Milorganite. Jimmy did come in to the nursery and he asked if I had Milorganite for sale. And so, yeah, we started chatting about it for a minute. And, I've had some success this week I wanted to mention with Milorganite because we put in a new lawn on a piece of property and it's out in Temecula where it gets real hot. And I was real scared to use some of the other fertilizers.
Because
that
of the burning?
Yeah, and even ones from fertilizer companies. But I put down Milorganite and everything's looked great. There was no burning and it's amazing. So definitely stand behind that product.
Pretty safe.
Well, I'll
Especially
tell
if you're a
you,
novice.
Temecula this week was up near 105,
Exactly.
106
Yeah.
too.
So again, like I said, pretty safe product to use
Yeah. So
in,
I was
in
happy
most
with
all
that.
situations.
Because you worry about burning a brand new lawn for something.
Well, when you're just getting started, too.
You can easily do it.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful.
Kathy from Neyland mentions the Japanese garden in Golden Gate Park,
Oh,
which is, have you been to that
Not
one?
that one.
That was spectacular.
That's a nice area. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is really nice. There's also one in Washington Park in Portland. They have a really nice Japanese garden.
yeah,
You
they
mean
do.
the Rose State?
That's one. That's one
Rose
of those.
City.
Rose City, sorry.
Right.
That's one of those ones. I was there because it's right across from the Rose Garden, right?
Right.
Okay. Those are the ones that like buses show up.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
spectacular.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the backdrop of it is gorgeous for sure.
Well, the view from the Rose Garden too. You're looking over the
right
whole
over
city.
the city. Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. Lila mentions if you're in San Diego area, the Cuyamaca Water Conservation Garden.
That's another good one.
Yeah, there are so many when you get right down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carla mentions your post-it
Post-its.
note
Garden.
Yes, and they're all
Stop
doing
by.
they're all doing very well too. You know, some of the ones that are not quite as yellow as the other ones.
Are you going to replant any of those? Maybe move them so they get more sun.
So they get more light in here. Well, thank you for noticing my poster. That's so old school.
Oh.
And you know what? I usually like a studio that's a little more
Organized.
a little more
No,
organized
that
and
you
clean.
do. That's what I'm laughing about this.
You're
Post-it
very
note thing.
organized.
But I think there's charm to that. That's a little old school. You know, I can just glance up there.
And for those of you that can't read the Post-it note, there's nothing important on any of them. There's just a bunch of random numbers and words, and none of it's in reference to anything. Brian just likes to look
I
busy.
can understand it. You know, in fact, the server we hook up to is IP 10.83.180. That's pretty important. We wouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, hey,
right.
those on Facebook Live, let's get back to gardening. Questions, comments, what's going on? We are heading into the fall months.
Yes. Starting
And
to cool off.
What
As
should
John
we be doing?
mentioned,
Different weather.
Planting some of your fall seeds.
I have some news that we're going to be talking about next week, I think. You
Yes,
know,
sir. Give us a tease, John.
we've taken a lot of trips with Earthbound Expeditions.
Right.
But since COVID, it's just been a disaster. We had to cancel one trip, and I was talking to Matthew Brumley this week, and he said that he's had a lot that were scheduled for now, and you would think COVID's pretty much over, but, you know.
No, people are.
Yeah, you just can't do it. But I think we're going to roll the dice.
Yeah, we're going to make an attempt on this, John, aren't
And
we?
because next year is the Floriade in Holland, which is an international gardening exhibition that only takes place once every 10 years.
Wow, did we hit that just in time?
And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that the next one I'm not going to be around for or feel like going to.
Maybe you just won't. You'll be on your porch, you know, like what you did yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, we'd like to go to the Floriade, and then the Floriade opens while the Tulip Festival in Holland is still going on. The Floriade lasts all summer into fall. But the beginning of the Floriade, we can time with the Tulip Festival, so we can do both. And
Now, is it just Holland?
Holland and Belgium.
Oh, and we're going to throw Belgium in.
Yeah.
That's right. And there's a lot of things to do. Hopefully, we'll have the itinerary up next week. And I was talking to Matthew about it, and I said, you know, everybody's still going to be a little leery of COVID even for next year. And he said that we would be able to offer the tour if you sign up with 100% refund if we have to cancel.
Okay, so if we have to cancel, you will get all your money back
Right.
because of the current world situation with COVID.
Right, you just don't know.
You don't know, and things could change on a dime.
But we haven't been anywhere in 2 years, and
Yeah.
I need to leave.
Yeah, we need to get out of here, the three of us,
Yeah.
even if it means
Even
going
if-
off the beaten track.
You can have someone come in and take care of your Post-it notes while we're gone.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
They require a
Rearrange them.
lot of care.
So we will have more on that. Those listening on Biz Talk Radio,
Yeah, just a heads
certainly
up
welcome.
to kind of let you know something to look forward to.
And once we have the information,
yeah, hopefully next show
yeah.
we'll have all the
and
information.
we'll put it
the
on our
itinerary
website,
will be up,
gardenamerica.com,
right?
Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'll post-it note. I'll put it on a
You put a
post-it
Post-it
note,
note right there.
and then everyone
That
will
way.
know. So that would be the end of April of 2022, Holland, Belgium, Tulip Festival, and the
Floriade?
Floriade. I'm not positive, but I think Bruce and Sharon Asakawa went to the Floriade.
I think they did.
Maybe I'll try to contact Sharon and find out a little bit more information, her point of view on the Floriade.
So there you go. We're going to try to make this happen. And again, if it doesn't happen and you want one of those that sign up, 100% money back guarantee.
Sounds like a win-win.
It does sound like a big win-win and a lot of fun, too, if you can go.
Rick wants listeners to know about the atomic fusion tomatoes from
Oh, yeah?
Wild Boar Farms.
He says
that
they're fantastic.
grew this year. I think we put pictures of those in the newsletter.
Was that the one?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
There was
also-
one slice, that, and I think it was the Berkeley tie-dye.
pink Berkeley
But
tie-dye.
his
right?
were like the cherry-ish ones that you posted.
The elongated cherries.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you sell those?
Yep.
I thought you did. I thought I remember seeing them at your nursery.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of fun tomatoes. Yeah.
Fantastic. A friend of
So-
mine says that these tours sell out fast. I missed out on the last one that you guys did. I heard it was fantastic.
All right.
We always have fantastic tours. It's a lot of fun.
What was the last one? The one to
The
England?
last one?
You guys went to England.
Yeah.
And before that, we did our second tour of Italy, France,
Right.
Switzerland. Is that the 3 countries?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I can't think of any tours we did that were a bust.
You know, we have a
Everyone was
screensaver on
fantastic.
our TV set in the living room. Obviously, if you don't attend to it, it'll go to screensaver, various pictures.
Right.
So a lot of the pictures from Europe show up because I fed my camera into the TV set. So it takes those pictures and shows it on a 55-inch screen.
Oh.
And Dana and I are like, wow, look at that's when we did this, or that's where John embarrassed himself, or that's
Well,
the-
you know, it used to be that you would have to come back from a trip and look at the pictures to find out if you had a good time. But our trips are so exciting that you can have a good time while you're there.
Yeah, right.
And on that note, we're going to take a break. For those on Biz Talk Radio, news coming up top of the hour, and we will return for you at 6 minutes after. Facebook Live, it's going to be a very quick break. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us, a lot more to come. We are back on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. Those that are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, 6 minutes after the hour. And just want to remind you, and I won't beat a dead horse with this, but this original broadcast, the 25th of September, 2021, John.
It's nothing sadder than
Next.
beating a dead horse.
Yeah, you know, interesting where those terms come from. Throwing the baby out with the bathwater, beating a dead horse, rule of thumb.
Yeah.
3 things to think about, John. While you're beating that dead horse, think about those things.
I want to know where people are at with their pumpkins because
You
you know,
know
if,
what?
if you were growing a pumpkin,
Oh,
you
you should
right
have
now,
planted it a long time
oh yeah,
ago.
but right now is the time when you start to see them turning orange and getting to the size ready to go. It's an exciting time, right?
My
'Cause you're about to be able
daughter-in-law
to harvest it.
Yes.
planted some squash from
Okay.
seeds, and some of them are kind of red pumpkin-y looking
Really?
type squash, and they're ripening right now.
Are they pumpkin or like big like that, or like those acorn squashes?
Yeah, kind of like those red, what are they called? Curry squash?
Is that what it? I don't know.
Something.
But yeah, okay.
I can't remember.
That's
Anyway,
cool.
but
she planted them from seed.
yeah, and I remember the video Tiger did about planting pumpkins.
Yeah.
It was back in
What?
May. Was
You're
it
right.
May?
Yeah, that's when the
Yeah,
time you got to
that's right,
plant
yeah.
pumpkin seeds.
He was dressed like Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, it was for the Halloween
Right,
pumpkin skit that I did.
right. And you were
What do you call them? Sketch.
A skit.
that's good.
Skit.
You're
Yeah.
thinking of like a sketch,
Yeah.
like on SNL.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right?
Hmm.
Skit, sketch, etch sketch.
Sketch is what artists do. With,
Sketch
just
Henderson.
sketch something
Oh,
out.
there's an old term, huh, John? Old name. Sketch Henderson.
That was Johnny Carson, right?
No, he was an entertainer.
No, he was the band leader on Johnny Carson.
No,
wasn't
you're thinking of Doc Severinsen.
he? Think so.
Where do you guys
Wasn't
get this
Sketch
stuff from?
Henderson one of those?
No, Tommy Newsom was the backup to Doc Severinsen.
Huh. I'm not going to dispute
Pop
your
culture,
knowledge of
entertainment. Take this show
yeah,
in any
your
direction
knowledge
you
of
wanna go.
anything musical.
And then somebody's going to pop in on top of what we just talked about and either add something to it or say, no, you guys are wrong, or tell us about Sketch Henderson. Don't you like Tiger's haircut? It looks like the first day in junior high school.
Junior high? You
Junior
look like
high.
I have
Junior high.
haircut.
Yep. Looks good. Nice and tight.
Yeah.
Got the tight look going on.
Right. Got to clean it up every once in a while.
Now, someone said that you're right. John's right. Skitch Henderson was not part of Johnny Carson, as far as the band leader goes. Doc Severinsen, Tommy Newsom. I'm going to stick to my guns.
All right.
Okay, so Tiger, if I go to your nursery right now, what am I going to find at your nursery? What should I be buying?
Pumpkins.
Okay, pumpkins.
Yeah. Yeah. Pumpkins will be at the nursery.
but
you know,
don't
the
plant
mums-
pumpkins now,
Yeah.
right?
Don't plant them now. Right. The mums, the small mums, the big mums are not yet, but the small mums are starting to come in. Starting to see
Are you
some
gonna get the big
snapdragons and
mums?
pansies. We're trying. Yeah,
Are
I
you?
mean, yeah, we usually get a few of them in.
But it's
later.
too late to plant
Right.
mums to flower this year, right? They should have
Correct.
been planted in the spring. But
Right.
you can plant in the fall for next year, and you'll probably get some in that are already blooming, right?
Yeah.
So you can enjoy the
So
bloom.
I think what you're saying is we can buy the ones at your place now that were planted back in the spring.
Right.
Okay.
There you go. And so those, and then they're starting to see some of the fall flowers and vegetables. So it's just creeping into that time. If you're real antsy, you can get that stuff and be willing to watch it, but it still can get hot. So that's the challenge. People that plant pansies right now and you put them in full sun, they risk burning up because it's just going to get maybe hot in October like it does with Santa Ana. So you got to be careful with that.
We're getting a lot of feedback on Facebook from Rule of Thumb, Doc Severinsen, Johnny Carson.
Oh, really?
And
Breaking them all
I think
down?
somebody stated that Skitch Henderson was Johnny Carson's original band leader when he was in New York, I think. But that said,
I'm looking on Wikipedia, and there's it's got comments about his personal life and then legal problems.
Johnny?
No, it's Skitch Henderson.
All of them. All of them.
Oh,
He was indicted for charges of tax evasion.
evading taxes.
Anyway, I
You know
remember
what I do
that.
each year with the IRS? Not each year, but every now and then I will call and say, thank you very much for your letter. After discussing your letter with my wife, we've decided not to take part in your program this year. They understand.
They get it? They get it? They just
Maybe
go,
next
okay,
year.
okay, Brian.
Thank you for reaching out.
Yeah. Well, do you mind if we reach out again to you next year?
Only with a legal letter? Something a little more like, you are going to take part in our
Yeah.
program. Are we caught up on the questions and comments? Somebody's got a whole thing on rule of thumb here, John. Did you see that?
I did, and somebody also pointed out that wants to know if Skitch Henderson was Florence, his husband.
Okay, now that's funny. That's pretty funny.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Carla wants to know, Tiger, what
Okay.
would be good to grow where in the fall vegetable garden
Okay.
where you had tomatoes. So, like, if you're pulling out your tomatoes,
What would be good to put in that
yeah,
same?
right, because she has a small area, so she
Right.
has to rotate the crops.
Mhm.
What could she put there?
Aside from maybe just the leafy greens, those are just so easy, right? As far
So
as
any
you're
of the
saying,
leafy greens.
the lettuces, the spinaches,
Right.
all that stuff. Let's see. Aside from that,
Well, she
what
didn't say
else?
aside from that.
Okay,
I mean,
well, yeah,
I
that
think
would
that's a
be-
good recommendation because
really
you're
good
going to
one.
use that.
Yep, that would be a really good one.
Any root crops, right? Carrots,
yeah.
radishes,
That'll do well where there were tomatoes before.
right? And all the cole crops.
Yeah,
So broccoli, cauliflower,
I would do
cabbage, and
I would do the lettuces.
I would try maybe 2 or 3 Romanesco.
Boy,
They look
you're on
like
that kick, aren't
He
you?
is on it right now.
Go ahead and grow it, John.
it's something I've never grown.
Plant it and grow it.
Yeah,
How
Do you have
much
the
area?
seeds? Do you have the seeds?
I don't have the seed yet, but I
How much
did.
area is there on that raised garden?
They're
roughly?
they're 4 by 8, and there's 3 of them.
Okay. What did he have in there the last time we were there? Which was before the house, well before the house was built.
They
So
put
that
in
was a year
things
ago
that I
June.
don't think they should have, but they.
But they
All right.
worked, right?
I wrote myself a note to look for
So much-
Romanesco seeds at the nursery on Monday.
Oh, all right.
Very good.
John and I will have a Romanesco off. We'll each plant seeds and see who gets the best Romanesco.
Get enough of them, we can have a Romanesco orgy.
Yep. Goodness gracious. Oh my, cover your ears.
Hey, John says the good time to put in fava beans,
Yeah.
which regular beans it's too late for. You can put in peas, right?
Yep.
But not, and there's dwarf peas too if you don't have room for climbing peas. My sweet peas are coming up
Wait.
already.
But you can do fava beans now?
So he
They're-
says.
They're not? Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're a cooler crop. He says that he plants fava beans where the tomatoes were since it adds nitrogen back into the
That is
soil.
true.
So it's a good cover crop for the winter.
Yeah. Nitrogen fixer? Yeah. Those are good.
Yeah, because then you don't have to pull them out. You just cut the tops, right, and leave the roots in there.
Roots in.
Do it while the soil is still warm. My new T-shirt. Do it while the soil is still warm.
I mentioned we were at Seaport Village, right? And I think
yeah.
that did I tell you about the T-shirt? I might have mentioned
No,
this
but you
last
talked
week.
about how it didn't matter where you ate because your daughter
Yeah.
had no taste.
Right, right. But we also saw a T-shirt that I think I may get one, and I think it refers to some radio personality. But anyway, all it said across the front was "Listen to John."
That would be a good T-shirt.
That is
for
good.
it.
Yeah,
Listen
I was
to
going to
John.
buy it for my wife, but she said she would never wear it.
What?
Because she won't listen to you.
Jeez. I like that one. Listen to John.
Listen to John.
Carla says that peas did work last year, so she's going to try some of the leafy things now,
Yeah.
and maybe a Romanesco for me.
Yeah, I love the lettuces because you can grow all the different lettuces that you don't normally see in a grocery store. And the nice thing is you just go out and pick it and leave the plant for what you need. You know,
I grew lettuce in the veggie pod
yeah,
that you
no,
have.
I mean, they
It
do
was fine.
great.
It was good.
I'll
So-
tell you, I always mention this, but black-seeded Simpson
Yep.
is one of my favorite lettuces. It's the cheapest seed that you can buy, and it's from, I think it's from the late 1800s, but fantastic flavor.
Yeah.
And be great for where Carla is. And anyone who, Carla says she thinks she may try a Romanesco. Our listeners should go to gardentube.com, and one of the first 6 videos there is about growing Romanesco. And I was surprised at how large the plants seem to be. So for a small garden, it may not work out, but go to gardentube.com and just look at that video. And you can get a lot of tips, planting from seed all the way to harvest.
Garden Tube, that's us, isn't it, John?
Yep. You and
Well,
We are Garden Tube.
we are?
We are.
I
I have a lot of paperwork at home that says we are.
when people say like why grow a plant, like meaning like, you know, you can buy that tomato for 25 cents or whatever it may be, but lettuce is definitely one of those ones. I don't know, when I buy a head of lettuce at the grocery store, you only use like half of it normally and then it goes bad. But if you're actually growing lettuce, it's easy because it's always there.
We got to go to a break.
All right.
Quick break. We're going to come back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. More of your questions or comments on Facebook Live. It is Garden America. Happy Saturday morning from Brian, John, and Tiger. Back with your garden buddies here on Garden America. However you're listening to the show, we do appreciate it. Of course, you can go to our YouTube page, Garden America Radio. All of our shows, in fact, are posted either 6 hours or the next day after the live show, which is right now. We get it up there pretty quick. You can watch our show. You can fast forward. You can rewind. You can pause. You can do all kinds of things. And, of course, all of our shows are kept in order on our Facebook page as well. Go to gardenamerica.com. A lot happening there. I think we have copies of John's articles on our Facebook page now. Lots happening. GardenAmerica.com, YouTube, Garden America Radio.
Sharon was involved with the article that was in this week's newsletter, right?
I believe so, John, right?
It was about tree roots or
Yep,
something
it was
like
about
that?
the tree roots.
Yeah.
That was good info on tree roots. And then it was interesting you listed a different types of tree roots. And
That
the
was in the
buttress,
Did You Know section.
Yep, the buttress roots where they actually support the tree and the strength, like the Morton Bay fig there in Balboa Park. You know, when you look at those roots on some of those trees, it's pretty amazing. And then, you know, John broke it down as far as what they do and how they serve their purpose. Good stuff.
Well, as John likes to say, there's a reason for every root.
Good one.
There's a reason for every root.
But I mean, lots of good information because people don't think about the roots and don't really
You don't
always
see 'em.
remember.
Well, that's like saying I'm not going to pay any attention to the foundation of my house.
Exactly.
It's what keeps it going, what keeps it upright.
Yeah.
But I think because roots are boring, root, whatever.
Well, not the buttress roots.
Yeah, definitely not.
They're taller than you are.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, that was interesting. So again, one more reason to get the newsletter, to read John's articles, to go to our
Get
website.
smarter.
Well, not only my articles, we have information from all over in one small area
Yeah.
that you can digest just on a
Upcoming
weekend
guests.
day.
How,
Right.
how do I sign up for that newsletter? I have no idea. I just get them every Friday.
I think Tiger told me if you go to gardenamerica.com, you can just sign up right there.
Exactly.
Is that HTTPS?
Yeah. HTTP://
That's Tiger's texting me, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all that is.
Text you and him at the same time.
About that Italian restaurant
Yep.
here in San Diego. We've covered a lot today.
Right.
Entertainment, pop culture, gardening, restaurants.
I was just thinking of, since we're mentioning restaurants and trips that we've taken, when we went to England, I don't think you and Dana were on that trip.
Is this you and Tiger?
No, Tiger wasn't there either because Bruce and Sharon came with us. And it was the one we took with Josh Schneider
No.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
But we played croquet with a professional croquet team. And prior to playing croquet, they served little finger sandwiches and Pims
How English.
before the game. Yeah.
How English.
And I had never had Pims before. Tiger used to be a bartender, so you know
Yep.
what Pims is?
Yeah, and I had it when we were in England.
Did you?
Yep. Yeah,
And-
I got it specifically because you told me about it. Yep.
And did they, I can't remember now, did they make it the same way where they put in the cucumber slice and
Yep.
the whole strawberry, sparkling lemonade, and Pims number 1, which is the alcohol solution? If you look online, you can find the recipes to make Pims, but they're so refreshing. And the reason I'm thinking about this is that we had a party at our house when my daughter was here, a birthday party.
Oh yeah, the
And-
tea party.
How did
Yeah.
that go, John, by the way?
Yeah.
Went really well, but
dress you up as a
Shannon made
butler?
Pims for all the adults.
Oh,
Really?
not for the kids?
No, not for the kids. And I was thinking that when we were in England prior to the croquet match, Sharon Asakawa has the gene that a lot of Asians have, where
Uh-huh.
they can't process alcohol.
Okay.
So a lot of Native Americans, the same thing. That's why they call it fire water, because they drink it.
Right,
and-
sure.
So she had the same thing, and Sharon rarely drinks, but she had 3 Pims. And
That's how refreshing they
that's
are.
how refreshing they were. I won't mention what happened afterwards, but
But you guys had to leave the country early.
we did. We did. It was fun. I still remember as they're showing us giving us tips. These are professional croquet players, right? And so it's my turn to hit, and my ball was in a corner, right? So I, just kidding, right? Just kidding, pick it up and move it 3 feet out. And
Like golf.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly like that. And the one woman who's watching us, teaching us how to play, goes, "Oh, you horrid man!" Look, just kidding.
Horrid man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No one ever called me a
Cheater.
horrid man.
I played croquet a lot as a kid. We had a croquet set
Yeah.
at our house, and we had a nice grass area. I played all the time.
You know something else no one plays anymore is jarts.
What?
Jarts.
The yard darts, the ones where
Yeah.
you throw them up and then run away.
You mean they banned those?
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
Yeah,
I
that's
know,
why
but-
nobody plays them anymore.
We played them all the
stabbed
time. I
each
don't
other.
see how you could. Well, when we were kids, the one game, everybody had a knife, right? Pocket knife, and
Yeah.
you would play splits. Do you remember? You would throw it. You faced another person, and that person would take a knife and throw it near your foot.
Or like this, you would just like,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if it stuck, you
What?
had to move your foot to where the knife stuck. And
Kids were a lot tougher back then.
Whoa.
yeah, and it was a
No,
fun
thank
game.
you.
We
used to
played
play
it
with
all the
bow and
time.
arrows. We had bow and arrow set, and we went down to this big grassy area by the Catamaran Hotel,
Uh-huh.
and we would shoot it up in the air as far as we could to see where it would come down.
Yeah.
Pretty wild back then.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah, we
Well, you had that shirt from Target that you really shouldn't have been wearing when you
I
were
was
using.
before my time. Yeah, we used to ride in the back of pickup trucks, no seatbelts, drink out of the hose, all those things. We're still here.
Yeah, kids are too soft today.
Didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
Just be home by dark.
That's what it was. The old philosophy: what didn't kill you made you stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we
but that
have-
knife game was one of my favorite games as a kid.
That's
Look at that, John.
hilarious.
Modern parents must be in total shock at your innocent remark about kids and pocket knives. Every kid, I had a pocket Swiss Army knife. Every
Yeah.
kid had a pocket, and if you were in the Cub
The Swiss
Scouts-
Army knives were not as good for throwing.
no, but they had a spoon and a fork and
Yeah.
other things. But if
And
you
they
were in
had
the
a
Scouts, you had
corkscrew.
knives.
Corkscrew and a bottle opener.
Exactly. Yeah,
I always wondered why you needed a corkscrew as a kid, because nothing had a cork.
it's true. Look at Tiger's just like amazed at all this. Like, wow.
I'm just thinking of the Swiss Army knife because the first one I got was a single blade. And then I got like one that had a few little things, but I always wanted that real big one that like
Yeah,
you're saying
did
like
everything.
and TV antenna folds out of it and, you know.
And I'll tell you, that was for rations during the war. Every soldier had that on him because you needed it for out on the field for various things that you would have to open up or eat or things like that.
Which war?
So
Oh,
so,
like World War One, I think. was
Really?
back-
Toothpick?
so. No
they had
toothpick.
toothpicks. Remember they had toothpicks. Swiss Army knives?
Did they?
Yeah. They had toothpicks.
Did not.
Yes, they did.
Oh well.
We're very close to a break here, and I think we should bail. We've got 2 more segments coming up after this, and we will talk more about gardening, horticulture, Swiss Army knives,
Let
Doc
us know if you
Severinsen,
have
Skitch
any
Anderson,
questions.
Johnny Carson, Post-it notes,
The Beach Boys.
the Beach Boys, you name it. This is Garden America on Biz Talk Radio and Facebook Live. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for tuning in. Of course, if you're listening right now, this is last week's show. For those on Facebook Live, you are up to date. You are live, and we do appreciate all your questions and your comments as we continue on this weekend, having a good time, talking about a lot of things here on Garden America.
I was
You know, Kevin on Facebook said that the technical game, we called the game Splits, but it's also called Mumbly Peg.
really?
Yeah.
The knife game is called Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Introduced it before one
No,
of
no,
their
no,
songs.
no, 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 no. It's Mumbly Peg, and he thinks the game
Yeah.
that Crosby, Stills, and Nash introduced it in one of their songs.
Right. That's what I'm reading.
I thought you said
The game was called
Called-
Crosby.
No, the
Right.
knife game. Okay, I see. I got you.
Right.
The knife game is after the Mumbly Pig.
right,
Period. New sentence.
right.
Got it.
And
Thank you,
don't
Kevin.
confuse it with the game that Bobby Darin sang.
Mac the Knife.
Right.
It's a great song.
Yeah, but I do remember now Mumbly Peg, but Splits is more masculine name for a game.
Yeah.
Do you want to play Mumbly
Mumbly Peg? That sounds funny. That's a funny name for a game.
Yeah.
Now what? Where do we go
But
from
no one
here?
ever got hurt. And I remember
Nobody got
my
hurt.
cousin missing a few times and hitting me in the foot instead of, the grass next to where I was standing.
And so did it stab your foot?
No, I mean, you wore it with shoes. You don't
Right.
play it in thongs.
Yeah, no, not
Or
a good idea.
barefoot.
Yeah.
But so you weren't throwing the knife hard enough to like go through your leather.
Just hard enough that it would stick in the ground.
Well, you probably could throw it that hard, but you didn't want to do it because you would lose.
Got it.
You're trying to stick it in the ground. What happens is you win the game when you throw it far enough that the person you're facing can't spread his legs to reach where the knife
Oh,
is. So
got
he
it.
falls down.
Got it. So it's almost like a what's that game Twister, where you're trying to stay balanced, and the first person to fall over is
Right.
the. Oh, okay. I was
Right.
wondering what the point of the game was. I was like,
The point was to have fun.
Twister, your kids, it does put you in rather odd situations
oh yeah.
every now and then.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, I already
Just
know
harkening
what
back to
Brian's
playing
thinking of.
Twister as a kid.
Hey, well, you got all of October, but I mentioned that my sweet peas were already coming up from the area where sweet peas were.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it'll be the same problem this year as last year, but when I did go to buy towards the end of October sweet peas, all the racks were empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a seed shortage this year or not.
No, that was probably just because of the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
because we just got in our new seeds last week.
Okay,
So it's kind of like people are wrapping up their racks, and now the new seeds are coming out now. So you'll start to see all those racks fill back up.
right. But if you want a selection of colors and
Yeah.
types, go get them now.
For sure.
Even if
because
you're going to wait a
they
week or two to
can
plant
sell
them.
it, like you
Yeah.
were saying, yeah.
Yeah, I ended up with, I think I had to buy some pink shade or something,
really?
which
That you didn't
I-
want.
I didn't want, but it was the only one available.
Dude,
So my wife liked them. It was fine.
if
but-
you like sweet peas too, Renee's Gardens, they have a really amazing selection of sweet pea seeds.
Yeah, these were from Renee's.
Were they?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was just one of the selections I didn't like. Carla has one more question.
Oh, come on, Carla. You can have
She
a lot
says,
more questions.
please. And I kind of agree with her. This is your last question, Carla. She says she's got heucheras, and she never put in the ground, and now the roots are growing into the soil.
Ah,
That sounds very familiar with everything going on at my house.
Yeah.
Because anything that doesn't blow over when we have a wind like we have the other day,
roots
I know that thing's got to be rooted into the ground. It's the only reason it didn't blow over. So she said, is there a way to put them in the ground and have them survive, or is it too late because of the roots, not the time of the year? Well, it depends how far they're rooted into the ground, but a lot of times, if you pull them up as much as you can and then turn them upside down, turn them upside down and knock the edge of the can against something, sometimes the roots will pull through those holes.
yeah.
And if not, I would go ahead and just cut the roots and put them in the ground if that's
Yeah.
the only way
Yeah.
to get them out. It's
I
not
think-
going to hurt. You can also, if they're in plastic containers, you can make those holes a little bit bigger. So just by
'em
taking pruning shears and cutting bigger holes, so the roots will come through. So get as much as you have as you can, but I would go ahead and plant them. Pull them
Yeah.
out and plant them.
I would go ahead and plant them for sure. And, again, we were talking about it during the break, but for our listeners, we still get shocked by the success of a product like HB 101.
Oh,
Where,
that's right.
if you're going to transplant something and you're worried about transplanting it, just
It's a must.
transplant it, drop in the HB 101 with it, and I've seen it do amazing things to bring plants back. I mean,
From the brink of
Pittosporum,
death.
yeah, Pittosporum silver sheen gets real susceptible to root rot, and when you start to see it go, there's not a lot that you can do to kind of bring it back. But I've done it a few times where I put HB 101 on that silver sheen, and then let the plant dry out, and it perks up and comes back sometimes. Where if I put other fertilizers on them before in the past, changed the watering, all that, nothing ever worked, but HB 101 did. So definitely would recommend, if you have some, use it when you do the transplanting.
I think Bruce and Sharon many times told the story about their apricot that was half dead, that they put the HB 101 on and were able to bring it
Yeah.
back completely to life and to get good crops from it.
Yeah. So give that a shot. She probably has some, right?
What's that?
Who was it? Carla? Who was
Carla,
it?
yes, in
Yeah.
Huntington Beach.
Yeah, I'm sure she probably has some.
If not, you can order it online.
Yep.
Go
If
online
you're in
and order
San
it.
Diego, you can go to Mission Hills Nursery.
Yep.
For my hibiscus,
That's probably what you really need on that
For that.
hibiscus.
it's not dead. It just looks like someone who's got the flu.
It's doing poorly.
It's doing poorly, and the one right next to it is doing fantastic.
Well, can you imagine how bad it feels too?
Yeah.
On top of
Looks
not,
over
not
at-
looking well.
It's
its
looking over at
friend.
the other one. The
Yeah.
roses,
Like,
everything
ugh.
around it is just thriving.
Yeah.
Why
You
are-
said your favorite rose right now is lemon spice.
lemons, you love it.
Who was it yesterday? I think I was the California Coastal Rose Society came to my house to prune the roses, fertilize them, and get them ready for the auction that's coming up. And Becky said, I think it was Becky said, tell Brian I have George Burns.
Who does?
I think it was Becky. Her dad used to own Hilltop Nursery in San Diego.
Okay. Wow.
So I think she was asking. I think it was her. I'll have to check.
Okay.
Because I said, yeah, Brian would really like
Haven't
that.
seen that rose in a long time.
I know.
And then, of course, you and I bought those seeds that were actually, what were they? What did you think they were?
Corn.
No, these seeds
I have
we
no
bought.
idea what your seeds were.
John said that you got taken. I got taken for sure.
My
That happened.
uh,
Didn't the same thing happen to you? Didn't you buy something that never materialized?
Some seeds.
Because you were really empathetic when I told
Maybe.
you my story, and you went, "Yeah,
maybe
same thing happened to
yeah,
me."
and rarely am I empathetic.
I know.
towards
I think
you.
John
Yeah.
just said that to make me feel better.
Carla said,
no.
great, talking about the HB 101, because she said
Yeah.
she just bought a bottle.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
those that have never
Orange
used
County
it.
Farm Supply. Anyone in Orange County
It-
looking for it?
If you haven't used it, buy it. Use it. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I guess it's good to. if
She
people-
says she'll ask more questions next week since we limited her
Her
today,
this
but,
week.
But-
she did put ha-ha after that, so she knows I was kidding.
people think it's a fertilizer. It's not a fertilizer. The closest
Right.
we can come is it's a vitamin.
Yes. Good analogy.
It's a tonic.
A tonic.
Yeah, something you would see in the
It's
1800s in a medicine show.
Well, it's actually
snake oil.
a secret from the samurais.
Yeah. that's
They're
right.
extracts of conifers from Japan, right?
Right.
So
about that?
I don't know what it does, but
It
you can
seems to work.
definitely see the results. I even I just put a bunch of rose cuttings. That's a long story that has no point to it, but I'll try to make it quick.
We've got a minute to the break.
All right. Well, I had a rose called Mango Panarosa, and I gave it to my daughter who had asked me for a rose about 3 years ago, and then she gave it to a friend. I didn't realize it was for a friend, or I never would have given it to her, but I figured, I got a lot of roses,
You
right?
just left that part out.
But then I go on Help Me Find Roses, and I see, whoa, there's nowhere in the entire world listed that a garden that has this
Mango
rose,
one.
and no one has it for sale, and there's not even a picture of it. So that friend is selling their house. So when my daughter was here last week, I said, is there any way you can dig that rose up? So she did, dug it up, brought it back.
Oh wow!
And so now I'm trying to get it to grow. But I guess my point was that I mixed up some HB 101
Oh.
and put it on there. So hopefully I'll be able to save that particular rose.
We're going to take a break on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. One more segment coming up. Hang in there. Hang in there. One more segment coming up. Still time for your questions, your comments. We do not limit you to one or two questions. As many as you want here on Garden America. We have made it to the final segment of our show, our really big show here on Garden America. Thank you for tuning in on Biz Talk Radio. Those on Facebook Live, much appreciated. And again, thank you to Travis back at Biz Talk Radio, the network, who makes sure that we get on the air, packages our show, and presents it on the Spreaker podcast platform, as well as our podcast, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Okay, what's
All right.
happening? We're caught up on the questions.
I think so. Think of resilience though in roses this week.
Brazilians?
Resilience.
Oh, Brazilians.
Right.
Okay. All right.
This week I was out at a customer's house 3 weeks ago, and they had some iceberg roses, and they had been eaten by gophers. And they asked me what was wrong, and I'm like, they look like they've been eaten by gophers. And I walked up to one, and it
Pulled
just
it
fell
right
over.
out.
It just
Yeah.
fell over, just had nubs
Right.
at the bottom of it, right? And I was like, see, like there they are. That's what happened. And she was real distraught about it, real upset. And she's like, you think I can save it? And I'm like, no, but you give it a try. Just put it in the ground, see what happens. And it's iceberg, so it's also like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not important
Right.
in a rose. And then I was there this week. She saved it. It regrew from the little nub
I've
that
done
was
that.
there.
It-
That you've well, I
Yeah.
believe you because
Right.
you can use HB 101. You know what to do and all this. I didn't.
Wow.
This woman literally just like stuck it in a pot.
The
and it
important thing is
regrew.
you got to cut it way back.
Yeah.
Did she use HB 101
no,
or just
no,
put it back
no,
in the
no.
ground?
I mean, she just put it back in the ground.
Yeah, every rose that a gopher's eaten, I've tried that on, and every one has been saved.
Dang.
It
well,
just
roses are
shocks
very,
me.
we've always said this, they're tenacious. Roses are
Yeah.
pretty bold.
Yeah.
Bold, tenacious, strong, you name it. They're
So yeah,
They
I was
wanna
in,
live.
I was
Sam
impressed.
McGrady IV is the one who developed that rose.
he's the fourth.
He's the fourth, but
Sam McGrady
the rose,
too.
Fourth.
rose is called Tenacious.
Very aptly named.
Oh, not Iceland.
Right, no.
It's named after a clipper ship that the Tenacious has special needs people that they bring aboard and they man the whole ship and take it.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah, on a trip. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was cool. If you want to know more about the Tenacious, you can just put ship Tenacious, Google it, and read the whole story. And it's a striped rose too, so it's one you would like.
I like striped roses.
Yeah.
That abracadabra that's not a very tall rose, is it?
No,
Not at all.
no, but you don't have abracadabra, so you don't
I'm
have to
sorry,
worry about-
simsalabim.
Yeah. No, it's a very slow growing rose.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Is it still coming out striped? Because you did have the pure yellow
I've
that I
got
told
yellow
you to
and
cut out.
I've got both. But you told me the way to keep it striped is to do what again?
Cut out the yellow.
Cut out the yellow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got both.
Now, don't be using Pepsodent.
Okay. Boy, there goes all my fun.
I think you have to be over 65 to even
You'll
get
wonder
that.
where the yellow went when
Right.
you brush your teeth with Pepsi.
Did you ever hear that, Tiger?
Nope.
You'll wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with a Pepsodent.
Did you ever have to say that in a jingle over the
No,
radio?
that
No?
was a little before my time.
That was.
But I remember the commercial. They were still playing the commercial when I was a kid. And I listened to these old radio shows on Sirius XM, and they play these old commercials right along with the show as it was broadcast back in the 30s or 40s.
What about Ipana?
I'm not familiar with that. That's
Really?
another toothpaste, right?
That was a brusha. Use the new Ipana. It's something for it's dandy for your teeth or something. But it was I think it was a beaver with his buck teeth.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yes. Bucky Beaver.
I don't think they make Ipana anymore.
Nope.
All right.
Well, we got 3 minutes to fill here, so get creative.
Well, I was wondering about because I noticed my red buds, the leaves are doing.
Singeing.
Yeah, they're looking kind of bad, and I think that deciduous trees or temperate trees, even though it's warm in Southern California, those leaves are going to start to not look good.
Yeah.
I have 2 deciduous magnolias that every leaf burned off, and now there's nothing.
Oh.
But I'm thinking I guess they're not going to put out new leaves until spring now.
I don't
So
know.
it's the same thing on all your deciduous trees. Another good example would be Japanese maples.
Oh, they would
This
probably
time of
look
year.
horrible right now in
Yeah.
Southern California.
Don't worry about it. Everything will come back in the spring.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
and-
that's the hard thing about Southern California, right? Is like they don't go bad. It just kind of looks bad.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, I wish you would just lose your leaves.
yeah,
That's what the hibiscus looks like right now.
yeah. But hibiscus is
Shouldn't be
evergreen
losing
and
its
it
leaves.
should be looking perfect right now.
That's
Tropical should still look good.
I know.
exactly.
At least I have the other one next to it to know that something's not right. Otherwise, I
No,
think
the other
what
one's
did I-
just showing off, like John said.
But if I didn't have that to compare, I would feel like it's my fault.
The other one's just putting all of its flowers on that one side of the plant.
It's so disheartening. It really is.
Maybe it needs a larger pot, or is it already in
They're
a big
both in the
pot?
same pot. Pot's big enough. I should just stick it in the ground.
Soil in the pot?
I'll have to check when I get home.
They don't have those buttress roots, you know.
Heck no.
Yeah,
But you know what? There's nothing worse than a tree or a plant when the leaves start to look bad Even though it may be healthy, it just doesn't look good.
Didn't Heirloom Roses give us some fish fertilizer? And I
Yeah.
thought I gave you a bottle, right?
Yeah.
Should I try that if I can find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can find it,
Mix it?
up and pour it on the leaves into the soil.
Just
Just
on
in
the
a
leaves
watering
into the
can,
soil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let it drip off the leaves into the soil.
I thought you weren't a big fish emulsion guy.
I'm not. That's why I gave it to you.
See my memory? See that?
We also, I think Tatiana from Top Tropicals is sending some fertilizer.
What was it called? Super something?
I can't remember.
Sunny
Sun Booster?
Sun Booster or something.
Hey, real quick, can you answer Michael's question here because we've got about 30 seconds.
What can he do about fuchsia
Fuchsia
gall
gall
mite? Oh my gosh. I think probably the best thing to do would be to cut out wherever it is. If it's not over if it's the whole plant's infected, get rid of it. But Bayer makes a product that is a systemic, and I actually used it on citrus trees.
For those watching, that's what this means. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Okay, so anyway, unless you have something else to
the
use,
systemic.
try
I would
the
suggest it.
try the Bayer systemic. I think you use all-in-one rose food, anything like that, and that should do a good job.
Okay, we've got to go. Thank you so much. Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live, running up against the clock. Running late, but sounding great, as we used to say in radio. For the entire crew, John Bagnasco, I'm Brian Main, Tiger Palafox. See you again next week right here on Garden America. Take care.